Hey everybody, it's Lainey, and today I'm doing a book haul. This is a collective book haul from the holidays until now, because one of my 2015 book resolutions was I cannot buy any books until I've read at least 5. That has really helped with my book buying habits, which I've been trying to cut back a lot on. I also have 2 pre-orders, which was the one exception to my book buying rule for 2015. So without further ado, let's get started. I do have some books to show you that I got from Christmas, but it wasn't a lot because I don't usually ask for books for Christmas. I usually just ask for gift cards. I have the gift card on my account and then I can use it whenever I want. When I do read my 5 books before I can buy, I can use my gift card money, which also saves money for me because I'm also saving money right now to go to BookCon and BA in May and then Y'all West in April. None of these books I paid for with my own money. So that is really good. For Christmas, we exchanged names, like a Secret Santa type of deal with my friends from the Carpe Librum book club, and Kenya had me, so she got me The Jewel by Amy Ewing and Captive by Amy Carter. This is the second book in her Black Coat Rebellion series. I read the first book last November of 2013, and this one came out in November 2014, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm really glad I have the sequel so I can read it. Y'all know how I felt with The Jewel because I have a review of it on my channel already, and this is the book I've rated 1 out of 5 stars. It's one of those things where I'm glad I read an awful book. Yeah. I did end up going with my dad and my stepmom to Books A Million when I spent the day with them the day after Christmas. So they ended up getting me 2 books. Stitching Snow by R.C. Lewis. This is a retelling of Snow White, which I'm really interested in, but I guess it's also a standalone. Did I hear that correctly? I think it's a standalone. I'm super excited to read this. And if the adult fantasy section didn't start right where the young adult section ended and bam, this book wouldn't even have crossed my mind. And that book is A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. As you can see, I am currently reading it. I am reading it with Kenya. We decided to read the series together. When I saw these books taking up almost an entire shelf, I thought, I think I'm ready for this book, and I think I'm going to try it. I have already watched the first season, and that so far has really helped me when I'm reading this book because I've already can visualize all the characters and who they are, and of course I can pronounce the character names because I've been hearing them on the TV series. I also got the bigger version of the paperback because I feel like I wouldn't be able to get through it if I had the mass market paperback edition, which sounds really bizarre, but I'm really glad I got the taller paperback version. Next, I'm going to show you guys what I got for the hashtag Boxing Day sale from Book Outlet. So this is, a really long time ago. I got the first 3 books in the Order of the Darkness series by Philippa Gregory. She's the one that wrote The Other Boleyn Girl and The White Queen, which is a show on Stars that I kind of want to get as well. I actually did start this book about 100-something pages in, 110 pages in. It's okay. It's not my favorite. I'm feeling a 3 out of 5 stars that I will rate this, but that's not a bad thing. Changeling, which is the first book. That's book 3. Book 2 is Stormbringers, and book 3 is Fool's Gold. Other books I got in that order, I got Starglass by Phoebe North. This is a futuristic in space, and since I love the 100, even though they're not in space anymore, I wanted to get this book. Not that it matters to me anymore, but Veronica Roth did blurb it. It's really interesting about a girl in space, and how she's kind of like betrothed to someone, and she doesn't want to be. I feel like that's what I read, and I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool, so I got it. And for you Cassandra Clare fans, I've been growing my collection via Book Outlet because their paperbacks are super cheap. So I've gotten the second book in the Infernal Devices series, Clockwork Prince, and I also got book 3 and book 5 of the Mortal Instruments. I still need book 2 and book 4. And then whenever book 6 comes out in paperback, I'll get it then. And that's all I got for my Boxing Day sale. You guys might remember my Morgan Rhodes unboxing video where she gave me signed copies of Fallen Kingdoms, Rebel Spring, and Gathering Darkness, as well as 3 of her other vampire trilogy books written under her other name, Michelle Rowan. I have extra copies of the Fallen Kingdom series, so I ended up sending my 3 copies hardcover of those books to Kayla from Bookadoodles because she's my friend and I knew she wanted them, so I gave them to her. She felt bad that I was giving her 3 hardcovers, so I told her just to buy me a book off my wish list, and that was fine. So she ended up getting me A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin, which is the second book in the Game of Thrones series, so now I have 2 of them. She knew I got Game of Thrones on Christmas because I tweeted her that I did. So she got me this book. These next 2 books I'm going to show you were sent to me by publishers. Entangled Teen sent me Atlantis Rising by Gloria Craw. They sent me the Book of Ivy at the end of last year, which I really, really, really loved. So I'm really excited to read this because Entangled Teen obviously is like a romance publishing company, but obviously with the Book of Ivy it was dystopian, and with this I think it's like fantasy. It has to do with Atlantis, which is of course the lost city, but you know, it also has romance, so it's like a perfect combination of genres for me. I'm going to be reading it soon because they did send me a finished copy, so I'll be doing a non-spoiler review on this one, of course. I would tell you guys what this is about, but it's like really, like there's nothing a lot told on the back of this. There's a lot of mystery, so I'm really excited to find out what this book is actually about when I start reading it. Random House sent me Seeker by Arwen Elise Dayton. Those 2 names, I am not quite sure. This is a fantasy YA. It sounds really interesting, and I'm really excited to read it because I've seen on Goodreads people that have been sent ARCs as well kind of are mixed. I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews for it, so I'm really excited to read it and decide for myself. There are 2 pre-orders that I pre-ordered. Polaris by Mindy Arnett. This is the second book in the Avalon series. Avalon was one of my favorite books I read last year. In short, I'll just say it's like Firefly meets Fast and Furious in space. That is everything. So this is the second book. It is a duology, so this is the conclusion, and I'm really sad about it because I really, really loved the first book, and I would have loved a trilogy. And the second book, I forgot I pre-ordered until the Sunday night where I got the email saying Amazon shipped it, and that is The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon, which of course, the second book in the Bone Season saga series. This hardcover is beautiful. I'm really afraid I'm gonna forget what happened in the Bone Season since I read it over the summer. And of course, looks so pretty naked. Can't wait to read about Paige and Warden again. And lastly are the books I ordered from Book Outlet after I finished my first 5 books of the year. So the books I got from Book Outlet, I got The Last Page by Anthony Huso, which is an adult science fiction fantasy book. I'm excited to read it. Sounded interesting. Add it to my cart. I wanted to kind of branch out to some adult science fiction fantasy books this year, so I thought this would be a perfect place for me to start. I also got the second book in the Everneath trilogy by Brody Ashton. This is Everbound. I've actually already read it. I read the first book for Ribsat and I loved it. I knew that this book was on Book Outlet, so I immediately added it to my cart, and I waited. I waited until I finished the 5th book of the month, and I immediately placed this order because I needed to read this book. Inhale read it in 2 days. I rated it a 5 out of 5, but this isn't a wrap-up, so I'm going to move on. I also got a adult historical novel, and that is The American Heiress by Daisy Goodwin. I actually saw this book in Target, and I was like really tempted to get it because it sounded really interesting on the back. I want to read this one soon because I don't read a lot of adult historical fiction. I also got Poison Princess by Cressley Cole. I wanted to try this series for a while, but those ugly ass first edition covers I just couldn't. I see a lot of people reading it, but I don't know what the consensus is of whether it's good or not. And the last book I have to show you guys is Inked Armor by Helena Hunting. This is the second book. It is a new adult romance, and the first book is called Clipped Wings. I originally heard Jillian from Bookish and Nerdy talk about this series, and it made me interested, so I added them to my wish list way back. I will get the first book, so I have like no idea what these books are about. I think they have to do with tattoos. Obviously I know it's a romance story, and these covers are really pretty, so I was totally fine with getting these new adult romance covers because sometimes they can be hideous. And that's it for my collective December and January book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed my book haul, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye!